I'm here today with our June TBR. Our May TBR was quite ambitious, but luckily we managed to get all of the books done. Well, I'm saying that we've still got 3 days left and we've got 1 book left, so I'm pretty sure we're going to get it done by the end of May. So we're here today with a bit less ambitious this time, because if you're from the UK, you'll have heard that there's a likelihood that we're going to be easing lockdown on June 15th. So there is a chance that midway through the month I will be going back to work. It isn't confirmed yet. So we are basing this off of partially if I go back to work, will we be able to squeeze this many in? Possibly not, but we've tried to pare it back a little bit. I've also got some more books just for me, because last month basically every single book was one that I wanted to read with Sean. So then I went really off TBR and just kept grabbing random things. So I've actually challenged myself to read some specific things this month. So let's just get into it. First of all, we're going to be reading 3 books for blog tours. So these are the ones that we're 100% going to be reading this month. The first of those is Again by E. Lockhart, which I am in the blog tour on the 2nd of June. As far as I'm aware, Again is kind of like a sliding doors story. It's about a girl in a summer and the different ways that her life could play out, depending on something that happens. Being quite vague because I haven't read it yet, I don't really know much about it, but it's E. Lockhart. I've heard a lot of very good things about her writing. I own a few of her books, haven't had a chance to read any of them yet, so Again sounds like as good a place as any to start. We also have the blog tour for Midnight's Twins by Holly Race. Now this is a debut fantasy novel. Not sure if it's a middle grade or a young adult, but it's kind of on the lower end. And this follows 2 twins. One of them finds a mysterious world called Anwin, and it sounds as though it's kind of like the world of sleep and dreams, that it's apparently like an Arthurian retelling. Seen a lot of those about this year, and I've only read one and it didn't go too well, so it will be interesting to see how that goes. And I will just double check my date. So my date for the Midnight's Twins blog tour is the 18th of June. So again, I'll leave the link down to the blog in the description. And if you'd like to check out any of my blog tour posts at the time, you are more than welcome to pop along. And the last blog tour that I'm taking part in this month is What Unbreakable Looks Like by Mclaughlin. And that is on the 26th of June. What Unbreakable looks like is about a girl who has experienced trafficking. She gets rescued and she settles down into a new family, but I believe that she's then sexually assaulted. So she has to come to terms with the fact that even though she's supposedly safe now, what is safety? Can you ever really be safe? Can you ever move past those things? And will you ever be in a situation where you're not at risk at all? It sounds like that one's going to be very, very heartbreaking, but it's from Wednesday Books. They did Foulest Fair by Hannah Cappin, which I read earlier in the year, took part in the blog tour for that as well, and I absolutely adored it. I thought the way that the difficult topics were handled was so impressive, and I'm thinking that if it's the same publisher, we might be expecting quite similar things. So those are the 3 books we will 100% be reading this month, and then everything else, hopefully we will get done. So I'll just start showing you books. The first one we're hoping to read this month is Dark Age by P.S. Brown. Now this was on our TBR earlier in the year, as a bonus round kind of book. We wanted to finish Iron Gold and then possibly move on to this one. After reading Iron Gold, we decided we needed a couple of months to come to terms with the way that the story had changed before we dived into this one, because as you can see, it is very, very large. This is 750 pages, so it's going to be one of, if not the biggest book that we've read this year. I'm excited because it's P.S. Brown, and I love P.S. Brown's writing, and all of P.S. Brown's books have been 5 stars for me. I'm also apprehensive because of the way that Iron Gold finished, but I said to Sean that I wanted to get this one done before I went back to work, because it is very big and I'd like to be able to dedicate time to it, rather than reading for an hour in the morning and then going for a shift and only being able to read a couple hours at a time. I want to be able to get this done in quite big chunks, because I feel like P.S. Brown's writing is the most impactful when you do kind of absorb yourself in the world. So hopefully we'll have this one done by the end of the first week of June, and then I'll be able to just feel sad until the 6th book comes out, because I don't think that's happening this year. I think it's been pushed back to the middle of next summer, and that breaks my heart, but also it's going to be anywhere near this big. No wonder it's taken him a while to write it. The next book that we're hoping to read in June is A Sprinkle of Sorcery by Michele Harrison. Now this is the sequel to A Pinch of Magic, which we read for Believathon in May. A Sprinkle of Sorcery will hopefully still be following the Widdershins sisters, who are Betty, Fliss and Charlie. In the first book, they have a curse on their family, which means that they can't leave the island where they live, because if they do, then by sunset the next day, they will die. And presumably, this will continue following them, and it will kind of expand upon the world. Loved the first book, gave it 5 stars, thought it was absolutely brilliant, lots and lots of fun, so we're very much looking forward to jumping back in and hanging out with the Widdershins some more. We're then hoping to continue our reread of the Harry Potter series with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. Read the first 2 books for Believathon, gave them a 4 and 3 star respectively. This was my favourite book when I read it when I was younger, and it's also the last Harry Potter book I ever read. I've never finished the series. I'm hoping to do that this year, which is why we're rereading them, and this will actually be my first time rereading this one. I've only read it once, and that was when I was in year 4 or 5, so I'm a bit scared. I'm looking forward to rereading it. I tried to about 4 years ago, so it's been just sat on my Goodreads currently reading list for like years and years, even though I read like the first chapter and then put it down again. But we're going to get it done this month, and then hopefully move on to the chunkier ones next month, possibly. You know what Harry Potter's about, so let's move on. The next book that we'd like to read in June. Oh god, I'm losing the months again. I've been saying June this whole time. March Part 3. The next book that we'd like to read in June is One of Us Is Next by Karen and McManus. We read the first book, One of Us Is Lying, in April, and I loved it. Sean wasn't too convinced, but we both liked it enough to carry on with the series. As you can tell by all of the books so far, we are attempting to continue reading some series in June. So most of the books in this pile are like parts of series that we're hoping to get to. So this hopefully will be following some of the characters that we already know. If you don't know anything about One of Us Is Lying, I'll be surprised. 5 kids go to detention, one of them dies. Who done it? It's a lot of fun, and it was very, very enjoyable. Sean guessed who did it very, very early, which is why I didn't enjoy it as much, but I was completely blown away. And I'm hoping to be as blown away with the second one, because I've seen a lot of people say if you don't like One of Us Is Lying, you will like One of Us Is Next. So if we liked One of Us Is Lying, hopefully we'll love One of Us Is Next. Also on the mystery theme, we're hoping to read Murder Most Unladylike by Robin Stevens. This is the first book in the Murder Most Unladylike middle grade series. First read for Sean, reread for me, because the last book is coming out in August, and I'm so sad that this series is finishing. Like, I'm glad because I don't want it to drag out to infinity and beyond, but like, oh, it's such a good series. I read these 2.5 years ago-ish, and loved all of them. I read like the whole series, completely caught up, and then I haven't read another installment, so I've got 2 that I haven't read yet, and then obviously the last one when it is published. Jade and Gavin have chosen this for Middle Grade Monthly's pick this month. We haven't joined in with Middle Grade Monthly before, but I'm definitely going to this month, because, yeah, as I said, this is one of my faves. Robin Stevens' writing is just amazing. So this follows 2 girls called Daisy and Hazel who have their own detective agency, and they find a body in school, and then when they go back, the body has mysteriously disappeared. So was there a murder? Were we kind of imagining it? And it's just a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to rereading this book and then rereading the rest of the series and then finishing the stories over the next couple of months. And the last of our mystery books is Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. This is the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which we also read in April. Loved A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, gave it 5 stars, was absolutely blown away, almost read it in one sitting, and I'm so looking forward to reading the sequel. I don't know anything about it, just that it came out really soon and that it's going to be following Pip again, and that was enough for me to buy it, and I'm so excited to finally get to this. We were going to try and squeeze it in earlier in the month, but then we had Believathon, so we couldn't get it done. But June is the month for this one. And also, like, because we read the first one so quickly, like, even if I go back to work, we should still be able to get this done in, like, one sitting. So this will be very, very enjoyable. So the next book that we're hoping to read is actually a short story kind of novella called The Julian Chapter by R.J. Palacio. This is set in the same universe as Wonder, which we read for Believathon. Absolutely loved. It's part of a collection of short stories that are called Oggy and Me. but we're not able to get hold of that at the moment because obviously libraries are still closed and can't find a copy online. But this one is available through our library app, so we're going to read it. As you can tell by the title, it follows Julian, and it's his little short story, and so that one will be a nice, quick, easy one as well. And we're also going to try and read The Damned by Renee Ahdieh, which we will be reading through NetGalley. This is the sequel to The Beautiful, which was kind of marketed as like the return of the vampires, and we read it last year, absolutely loved it, 5 stars. Really looking forward to reading the sequel. As far as I'm aware, this one is just a duology, so this will be finishing the series, but as soon as I got accepted, I knew I wanted to read it before it came out, and this is looking like a really good time to fit it in. Not sure how it's going to go. The first one was kind of like a murder mystery rather than vampire-y, but then it got like vampire at the end, so I'm hoping this one is going to be more of like the vampire story. But also, I just loved Renee Ahdieh's writing on the first one, and I was blown away, and I'm just really looking forward to rejoining these characters and reabsorbing ourselves in this world. Sean and I have also picked some bonus round books, because if I don't go back to work, we're going to read all of those pretty quickly. So, depending on how everything goes, we're going to be reading Zombie Underground by Darren Shan, The Drawing of the Three by Stephen King, and The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. These are all also sequels. The second book in the Zombie series, the second book in the Dark Tower series, and the second book in the Lord of the Rings series. Pretty self-explanatory. This one's about zombies. This one's about a gunslinger who is chasing a man in black across the desert. And this one is about a guy who has to throw a ring into a fiery mountain. Hopefully get at least one of them done, but if we don't, then we'll be carrying these over into July. It's just a case that we're trying to be really good at carrying on with series because I've never been good at it, and we own these ones, so why not move on to these ones as well. I've also got myself some books to read because, as I said last month, I forgot to challenge myself to read anything, so I just kind of bumbled along on my NetGalley just grabbing random stuff. And I've got This Is Really Happening by Erin Shack. As far as I'm aware, this is somebody who used to write for BuzzFeed, possibly still writes for BuzzFeed, and it's just like a collection of essays. Yeah, so it's non-fiction essays, like a whole selection of them, probably about life, possibly supposed to be funny. It's very thin, and I've had it on, we have a whole wall. I keep explaining this, I need to just do like a tour of the wall one day, but our entire mantelpiece is like up really, really high with books that we're trying to read before we donate them, just to like give them a go. And if we haven't read the majority of them by the end of the year, we're just gonna like get rid of them. So I'm trying to go through those. So yeah, this is one of them. If we love it, we'll keep it. If we hate it, it'll go. It's the same with all the books in my little stack, actually, because I've been trying to hold myself more accountable because we do have so many and they keep falling down because stacked books precariously and gravity are not a good mix. So the second book that I'm going to try and read from that pile is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is the first book in the Red Queen quartet. I own the first 3. Have owned them since they came out. These are like the fancy first edition big boy paperbacks. I honestly can't remember anything about it. I remember that the arc was really, really cool because like when you like opened it, like the crown came away, like it had no blood, and then like you opened it and it had blood, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool arc. So I ordered it and got it as soon as it came out and then never read it. One of my friends said that this was one of her favourite book series, so I was like, oh, might as well give it a go. It looks like it's a world divided by blood, red or silver, so it's like the reds versus the silvers. I'm guessing that somebody finds out that they're a red when they think they're a silver. Yeah, wow. Just looking at the cover, I figured that out. We'll find out how it goes. Again, if I don't like it, I can just donate the other ones that I own, so at least that will clear off the stack quickly. I've also got Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinburrough. Now, this is a domestic thriller crime, not quite sure. It's about Louise, David, and Adele. Sounds like there's like he walks out, he cheats on, like, so David cheats on Louise with Adele, and then apparently it's the most shocking ending you'll read all year, so that means I'm already prepared to be shocked at the end, which means I won't be. But I saw somebody put on Goodreads, someone I follow, it might have been Amy, put on Goodreads the other day that they gave it 5 stars and they really enjoyed it, so hopefully I won't hate it. It was one of those books that I was going to read the first chapter and then decide whether I wanted to read it or not. But the first chapter is literally 5 lines. So it interested me enough to put it in this TBR. Whether I'll actually get through it, we will find out. And the last book that I'm going to try and get to from that pile this month is Dearly Departed by Leah Hobble. I started reading a book called Dead Beautiful by Yvonne Woon. And one of the reviews said that it was like Dearly Departed but better, and I hated Dead Beautiful and I DNF'd it. So I'm going to try Dearly Departed because I'm really interested in like paranormal romances and zombies, but nobody can ever do them right. And like I've tried to write one, it's not easy and it never goes well, but I'm still hoping that one day I'll find one that I love. So I'll give this a go. The font is really, really small considering how chunky this book is. And considering the fact that it's only a paranormal romance. But we'll find out. I've also got the second book. So if I love this one, I can carry straight on with the series. And if I hate this one, then they can both get donated. But we will find out at the end of June. And now, because that wasn't enough books already, we got to pick 5 from the TBR jar. So we're doing pretty well with the TBR jar. Last month we had a couple bad ones, a couple really good ones. We've got one that we still haven't got to yet, but I'm sure it's going to be a good one. So hopefully this won't be awful. Fingers crossed. So yeah, let's pick them. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Right. The first title is The Memory Game. This is a memory game because I can't remember what half of these books are. The second book is Lucy and Lynn. Okay, read my own writing on that one. Oh, it's going to be fun to look these ones up. Oh, Lord. What have I done? The next one is Friend Request. I can see the cover for that one in my head. I think that's an adult domestic thrillery one again. So, oh no, because every single one of those I've read recently has been a 1-star. We got Southern Perfection. Why do I request just random crap on NetGalley all day long? And the last one is The Boy Next Door. Okay, this is Huntley Fitzpatrick, I think. I hope this is the Huntley Fitzpatrick one because I read one of Huntley Fitzpatrick's other books and I loved it. And I'm now thinking, what if this just sounds like the Huntley Fitzpatrick one? What if it's a similar title but it's not the book? Let us find out. Okay, you'll see the memory game on here. So we are off to a very good start. Okay, so the memory game is by Sharon Sant. It's apparently only 140 pages, so I'm already into that. David is killed by a speeding driver and he's still hanging around and he doesn't know why. The only person who can see and hear him is the girl he spent his school days bullying. So it sounds like they're probably going to solve his murder together. That sounds a little bit like Dear Evan Hansen with like the ghost hanging around. So I'm not opposed to the idea, but also I've literally never heard anything about it. So who knows? But okay. So then we go on to Lucy and Lynn. Yeah. Lucy and Lynn by Alyce Pung. So Lorinda is an exclusive school for girls. At its hidden centre of power is the Cabinet, a triangle of girls who wield power over their classmates and some of their teachers. Entering this world of wealth and secrets is Lucy Lamb, a scholarship girl with sharp eyes and a shaky sense of self. As she watches the Cabinet in action and is courted by them, as she learns about power and repression, Lucy finds herself in a battle for her identity and integrity. Sounds interesting, I think. So the next book is Friend Request by Laura Marshall. Maria Weston wants to be friends, but Maria Weston is dead, isn't she? I mean, already into that. 1989, a mysterious new girl transfers late into the school year. They're on their way to becoming friends, and then in 2016 she receives a heart-stopping email that her dead new girl wants to be friends. That sounds like one of those books that's either going to be one of the best things I've ever read or it's going to be one of the worst things that's ever been written. And based off of my track record with domestic thrillers recently. It's going to be the latter. But it should be a quick read, at least. It was definitely one that I was very, very interested in, because I can remember I nearly got out of the library after it came out, and then I remembered I had it on NetGalley because I'm an idiot. And then I still didn't read it because I'm really bad at this. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, I think. Then we've got Southern Perfection, which is by Casey Peeler. This is a self-published. Is she okay? Okay. So this is: life is full of good choices, good, bad, and ones you can't control. Reagan strives to be perfect in every way. Varsity cheerleader, honor student, and proud granddaughter of Dover Lowry. By day, Reagan is an overachieving high school student, but at 3 o'clock her real work begins. What happens when appearances are not what they seem? Will Reagan be able to hold on to her life as she knows it, or will she be left all alone? All of these questions are answered with one night, one song, one story, and one boy. That sounds quite similar to another book I read a few years ago that I didn't think I was going to like as much as I did, and I really, really enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to that one. It's not the kind of thing I normally read, so I'm wondering if the cover was different before, because it's just kind of like a girl and a boy like led on a cart, and that's not the kind of thing I would automatically go for. So I'm wondering if it had like a different cover, or if I'd seen some good reviews about it at the time, because it did come out in like 2015, so I probably saw some good reviews at the time. But looking forward to that one, especially with like the heat wave we've been having at the moment. It's the perfect time for like country girl does music after dark. And then we've got the last book, which is The Boy Next Door, and I really hope it's the one I think it is, and probably isn't. Oh, there are so many books called The Boy Next Door. Which one is it? Oh, it's not Huntley Fitzpatrick. Is that called The Girl Next Door? My Life Next Door, isn't it? Oh, God. Yeah, it's called My Life Next Door, and I've already read it. So I don't know why I thought it was the Huntley Fitzpatrick. I did read that one through NetGalley, so I wasn't too far off. But this is The Boy Next Door, and this is by Katie Van Ark. So it sounds like it's going to be another romancy one. I love you. I love you. I'm nearly done. I'm nearly done. Right, so this is by Katie Van Ark. Maddie Spear has been in love with the boy next door forever. As his figure skating partner, she spends time in his arms every day, but she's also seen his arms around other girls. Lots of other girls. Gabe can't imagine skating with anyone but Maddie, and together they have a real chance at winning some serious gold medals. So he's determined to keep thinking of her like a sister. After all, he's never had a romantic relationship that lasted for more than 2 weeks. But when their coach assigns a new romantic skating program, everything changes. Will this be the big break that Maddie's been hoping for, or the big breakup that Gabe has always feared? It sounds very cute. It looks like it's very, very short. Yeah, another one that I haven't really heard much about. I can see why I requested it, because I love dancing on ice, and anything that has figure skating I'm a bit of a sucker for. I've recently read a book that also had like a guy who worked in a skating rink, so it has made me feel like, ooh, I'm in like a skating mood. So hopefully I've picked this one out at exactly the right time. But yeah, that's an eclectic mix. I'm a little bit frightened, but we will find out together whether they're any good. And that's it for our TBR for this month. I'm feeling like we've been a bit ambitious again, but also if I'm walking to and from work, I'll be reading my Kindle books more. I've also get like lunch breaks and stuff, so who knows how this is going to go, but tune in for our June wrap-up and see how badly we fail. If you'd like to subscribe, click the button. If you like the video, do the liking or the commenting. I've got like my social media things down in the doohickey. Yeah, let me know what you're trying to read in June. I know there are quite a few different readathons going on, but we'd already planned this out before we heard about half of them, so we're not taking part, but we'll be looking forward to seeing what other people are reading this month. And we will see you in a few weeks with our wrap-up. Bye!